Hi guys, Ron here. So a couple of you have been asking about my new time trial bike. It's slightly different than from what I was riding last year. So after riding a couple of 100 kilometers on it in preparation for my time trial events this season, I'm ready to share some experiences. So what is the difference between this bike and a bike I've had before? So previously I've owned Project 1 Speed Concept, which was still made in the US, so from the highest grade carbon, and it was the same as the Pro team uses, but that frame is no longer available. You can only get basically one version of the frame, which is somewhere in between in the 7 series and the 9 series, which were the two options before. So you can't get a super expensive, super high-end frame anymore. But despite that, all the design features, the aerodynamics, the ride quality, they're all the same on this bike for basically half the price for the frame set. So why did I sell my previous bike in the first place? That was a size medium, and I bought it according to Trek's sizing chart. And you have to keep in mind that time trial bikes nowadays, well, the time trialing market is very slow compared to triathlon. So primarily every bike or most bikes you buy are triathlon bikes, and the sizing is well designed according to that. When I bought this or that bike 2 years ago, I didn't have too much experience with time trialing or cycling in general, so I bought it according to the size chart. That meant a size medium. It did fit me comfortably, but I could never really find my optimal time trial position while still being UCI legal. So then in winter, a gentleman approached me with an offer for that bike, and I accepted it. We made a deal, and I've sold that bike and got this one instead. Do I regret that? Well, at first I did, because I knew I can't get the same super high-end frame, but then I thought that maybe the downsizing will be helpful, and it was. And now I can say for sure that it has been one of the best decisions I've made, and I'm really happy with it. So let's just look at the bike itself, or the frame itself, and what is the difference. So one of the differences that you can spot right away between the old frame and the new one, as I said, the old one comes as a triathlon bike, so it has a non-UCI legal handlebar. The full foil fork is now UCI legal, so that's the same. It also had the speed fin underneath the rear brake, which it no longer does. And yeah, it was a full carbon frame labeled as OCLV 600. This is a 500, has aluminum dropouts front and rear, which I think is a good thing, because at least for me, I change wheels quite often in this bike. I put it on the trainer quite often, and yeah, aluminum dropouts are a lot more durable in that aspect. You also get an aluminum seat post as standard. I had to change that to dial my fit to a carbon one from the previous version, and it's mainly because of the setback. It doesn't really save any weight. This is, well, it's longer and with more offset, and it saves 6 grams, I think. So if you are happy with the position on the standard aluminum seat post, then there's no real reason to change. Other than that, Yeah, as I said, design of the bike is completely the same. Stiffness wise, I can't really think of any difference. It handles just as well as the old bike did, even a bit more nimble in this smaller size. And because of the less advanced carbon layup and the aluminum components, it is a tiny bit heavier. I reckon around 120-130 grams, despite being one size smaller again. But that's not really an issue for me because my better position far outweighs that weight disadvantage. As for the speed concept itself, it's not the most modern of designs, but it just works. It's a super fast bike, no matter which way you look at it. It's also one of the most adjustable cockpits, so you have 6 different stem options, whole bunch of risers, and you can move everything around quite a lot, 4 different seat post options. So yeah, if you want to really dial in a position, then this bike is excellent. Also, a notable thing is the use of this proprietary extension design, which is called, I think, the monolink or something like that. Yeah, so it doesn't fit regular 22.2mm extensions in this version, but you can fit an adapter if you have some particular needs. One thing I do change from the standard is I remove the standard arm pad, which, well, on most triathlon bikes, time trial bikes, it's a little bit wonky. I use this super light carbon plate from Watch Shop, really nice, thick, grippy foam, much better than a stock option. Of course, this only works if you run a super narrow position like me, because it's a one-piece designed so basically your elbows are touching in it. A lot of time trial bikes and aero bikes in general suffer from poor braking. This is not the case with the speed concept. The brakes are excellent, very good power and modulation, and easily adjustable as well. I change my wheel sets quite often. They're all different widths, and you take a 2mm Allen key and can dial it in 20 seconds. No cable adjustment necessary whatsoever. Another notable thing, at least for me, I like using SRAM's 1x11 system, even though it's not a proprietary 1x11. But I use the mechanical version, and this is one of the very few modern fully integrated time trial bikes that actually accept a mechanical system, so that's a great thing. Bottom bracket wise, it uses Trex BB90, which in my experience works pretty well. One thing that's not on par with the latest time trial bike designs is that the front hanger is not removable, but not a big deal. I use the chain catcher now anyway. And finally, sizing wise, so I've been talking about the sizes. I am 172 centimeters tall with an 81 centimeter inseam, 71 centimeters of saddle height, and this is, as I said, size small with the long far stem, so I've changed this. From stock it comes with the medium stack and short reach. That's way too short for me and way too stacked up, and I use the I think this is the second tallest monospacer for the extensions. This way I get, as you can see, quite a lot of drop. I've measured it recently. It comes in around 16 centimeters from the saddle to the the arm pad, even more to the base bar. On a time trial bike, it really helps if your base bar is pretty low, because otherwise you can't really have a very nice aggressive position in the corners, and in descents it definitely helps out a lot. One minor challenge with the mono extension is fitting a computer mount. A lot of people have been asking about this. This is standard K-Edge TT mount. I don't think anything else will really work aside from rubber bands, but that's not too aesthetic and puts the Garmin, well, not where you can see it very well. This works just fine, even though there's a slight kink down in the extension. It grabs on that nicely. Cable routing is also quite simple, and the whole bike, even though being quite an old design, almost 5 years now, it's still very contemporary in terms of cable routing and general serviceability. So yeah, if you know your way around it, you assemble it yourself, then you definitely will have no problems maintaining it. And of course all the cables are ran completely inside the frame, so they don't get contaminated anyway. Yeah, so I think that's all I can say for now. About this bike, I'm really happy with it. I've also won my first time trial on it. I guess the position helped out a lot compared to the previous larger bike. Even though it's a little bit heavier, it's much faster this way. Yeah, another thing that wasn't really true up until now is value. So I've looked at all the different time trial bikes on the market now, because I'm not really don't have to choose track necessarily, but I just couldn't find a better option. Some people say I'm a track fan. Well, I'm not a fan. I chose this bike as every other bike based on objective reasons, and one of them, yeah, you get a full-on superbike for not really anywhere near superbike money. So if you compare it to a BMC or a Factor or anything like that, those bikes or frame sets are double or even triple the price. So yeah, definitely a good option. Okay, so if you want to see more about this bike and the build itself, then don't forget to tune into the channel and subscribe. It's all for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.